Hello everyone, today is Husband and Wife Talk Day. As usual, I'm very excited because we get to interview my husband Gerald, and he is going to discuss or talk about his thoughts, his reflections on fatherhood. So without further ado, let's go ahead and listen in. Okay, all right, Mr. Carpio. Thank you for once again having this interview with me. So for today, I'm very excited because in this coming weekend is Father's Day. And so our topic of discussion for today or interview is fatherhood. And because we now have 5, I really am excited to hear what you have to say on these questions. You ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. So would you consider to be your greatest strength as a father?
Greatest strength would be probably being consistent as far as my actions, for each kid.
And what do you mean? Can you elaborate on being consistent? Because a lot of people go, well, I'm consistent.
Yeah, I would say consistent in regards to everything from punishment to actually helping out as well. So in other words, for example, in regards to helping out, if I'd say, hey, okay, this is our schedule, right? And pretty much making sure we're going to do things as scheduled, right?
Yeah.
And making sure that they're going to be, or whatever's scheduled to do is going to be a high priority over something else like work or something else in that matter.
Yeah. And I really think that helped in our parenting together because your consistency helped us together as a team to make sure that our children knew the cause and effect of their actions. And I was grateful for that because between you and me, I would say definitely you have that consistency down. Anything else that you would say is your strength as a father?
I would say just doing my best to actually improve as a father. And
what do you mean, like being that role model the best you can?
Well, the best I can. Of course, everyone's going to make, some mistakes here and there and some based off experience. Yeah. But at least, doing my best and holding myself accountable for certain things and continuing to try to improve, as we are, like I am for the 2 younger boys we have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We definitely learned from the first 3 because it was definitely us giving it our all, loving really hard. And then now I feel like it's loving smarter as we can kind of look back, right? And reflect.
Yeah, I would say smarter, but the other thing too is also looking at, what could we have done better as parents? How can we improve as parents, right?
Yes. So nice to have that chance.
Yeah.
Not to say that we didn't do great, but definitely some things that we can look back upon. And, for me too is your role modeling. I want you to actually bring that up because it's important to understand being a model for what a father should be. And I really want you to shed some light of what you think is your strength of being a model of a father, to you. Just,
I would say, the first thing for myself is leading by example.
Give me some examples of leading by example, because that's important.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say some examples would be as a father, putting family first as a priority, instead of my own personal needs or wants.
Yes.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
So,
that's a big sacrifice.
Yeah. And that would include am I spending more time or quality time with my family, or am I going out and hanging out with my guy friends, right?
And
am I putting my guy friends or personal friends at a higher priority than my family and my family activities, or vice versa?
And your limited friends really, I can tell in all the decades that we've been together that they respect you for that because they know that you are that way. And in fact, my friends have noted that you are a family man without you even going around saying it. It's in your actions where people can read into it and have complimented you on that. So I'm grateful for it. How about just the things you do with them, like your coaching or anything like that? Do you think that's important? What do you think?
I think it depends on the situation. But it was important to me, and I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, you gotta be true to you, right? Yeah, how you want to spend your time. Very good, thank you. Anything else you want to add to that one?
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, good, thank you. So what do you still however, because we are all growing, we're all still working toward betterment. What do you feel that you still need to be working on as a father?
So I think on the second half, with the two younger boys, definitely taking the time to make sure I understand and know them more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also taking the time to try to see things from their perspective more.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
That's good.
And then focusing on loving them more unconditionally.
Yeah. And why do you think, just in reflecting on that, why do you think that has gotten to be more important to you now than ever? In the years that have passed, why does that come to mind? This is something I need to work on. How can you reflect on that?
I believe it's something I need to work on because of the fact that I think from my standpoint, I'm looking at, okay, I got to make sure we have certain resources in place and the kids have the direction and resources and support they need to accomplish what they want, right? And, it's a long journey.
It is. We were younger too.
Yeah.
So your perspective was getting us to where you needed us to be as a family. And I feel, being your wife and the mother of your children, seeing that as you progress, as you saw things arrive, then you also reflected on, okay, well, what could I have done better? And that is something to be appreciated because, we do have to stop sometimes and think, okay, how could I have done that better? Not that you didn't do it great, because I think you've done a wonderful job. But then to look back and go, okay, how could I have done that better? Yeah,
and to be more specific, I would say definitely when I look at our three older kids, I look at, okay, I think they were a little bit more I think we gave them too much. So I feel they weren't as appreciative towards certain things. And the other thing is they started to get what is the generation they're saying nowadays? They call them,
I know what you're thinking about.
What was it? What's the word that they're using?
It'll come to mind.
No, I'll hit it in a second. There is...
were they
privileged.
Privileged.
That's what it is. Yes.
Thank you for getting that.
So basically a little bit more too privileged, and sometimes I do question how strong they can actually really handle the ups and downs a little bit more.
Yeah,
because sometimes when you give them too much support, you know what I mean, and and try to shield them a little too much, that can have some negative effects long term, possibly.
Yeah. Because it's interesting, like you don't want them to go through what you've been through, and yet because sometimes you've shielded them so much, now you wonder, have I even prepared them for those inevitable moments?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. So, and then there's that, and also because, when we're going through the first older three, I think it was a lot more have to do with, let's give our kids what we never had. Let's do things for our kids that we wish our parents could have done for us.
And we had fun doing that too.
Right?
Oh my
but then again, some things we might have done a little too much, I realize, where they probably should have put them in more positions where they can make more mistakes and we can help them through the mistakes instead of shielding them through maybe too many mistakes.
Yeah, or earning it too.
Exactly, or earning it, yeah. Too much materialistic things I think we gave them, right?
Yeah.
But I think overall it worked out solid,
absolutely,
right? So.
Absolutely. Is there anything that you feel in addition that you need to work on, or do you feel like you've covered that question?
Again, I would mention just understanding things from their perspective more is probably the biggest thing. Yeah. Right.
Sometimes when you're the captain of the boat, it's hard to listen.
And then the other part is, I'm definitely making sure I appreciate every moment, and enjoying every moment.
Yeah. Because now we look back, oh my goodness. Because
it goes by fast.
It does go by fast.
Really fast.
Especially now that we're like in the second round, we're like, oh my gosh, Yeah, for sure. Anything you want to add to that one before we go on to the last question?
I'm good.
Okay, good. Thank you. So what kind of father, my last and I think really important question, would you want to be remembered as? So when you leave this world and someone was to say Gerald Carpio or Mr. Carpio, what do you feel is really important for others to, you would hope that they would mention and that you would be remembered as?
Hopefully being the father where I was trying to instill them, be the example of what to be instead of the example of what not to be. Okay. The other thing is at the end of the day, being remembered as a father that helped provide the major resources and foundation so that future generations have the opportunity and the resources to progress and prosper. You know, and that to me right now is extremely important because, you know, looking at history going back maybe, you know, 2 and 3 generations, and evaluating basically where we're at, you know, and what seems to be in the horizon, you know, I can definitely see how things can definitely be more competitive in the future, you know, and
you've always been good at seeing that.
And the reality in regards to that is that if you don't have the resources, you know, prepared and situated, it's going to make the job so much harder.
Yeah.
You know, and
more disappointments to come if you're not
and just
prepared.
so much harder. So the biggest thing is, you know, making sure we have a certain level of resources that can get passed down from generation to generation, along with that very good knowledge as well.
Because it shouldn't, and we've talked about that, it's important that our next generation will be aware of all the steps that we've gone through, right? Because if we just give it to them without like a blueprint or, you know, a manual, then it may not continue all that hard work. And then it just stops.
And I've heard that memoirs are very important that people find, you know, and, you know, how did we accomplish certain things, you know, what steps did we take, you know, what did we learn, you know, what worked, what didn't work, you know. Those are I believe are extremely powerful. And again, along with, you know, providing something that's going to provide, you know, resources and finances through passive income that can be passed down to generation to generation. You know, I feel like, again, you know, that's for right now, the knowledge and the resources, you know, are extremely important to myself because of the fact, again, you know, I want to make sure that the future generations have as many and more opportunities than I had and yourself.
And I'm so glad that you're a thinker like that, that you see you're a future thinker. You're not just for that moment, because that's important.
Because there are certain struggles I feel that, you know, shouldn't have to be repeated. Right? So,
no, that's really good. Absolutely. Anything else that you would want people to remember you by?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you once again for taking the time to hear this, and maybe I'll just conclude it with something afterward, but thank you for your time.
And you are welcome.
I look forward to talking to you at another interview. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so now it's my turn, and I honestly, because of Father's Day and just really giving the respect and honor for all fathers, I wanted to make sure that Gerald's reflection of himself on fatherhood and he being a father of our kids was more than enough to hear what was important coming from a father's perspective of what it is to be a father. But for me, I wanted to take this time to answer the questions in ways to explain to you that having been married to someone from the time that I was very young to now almost 3 decades of just really getting to see him grow, I want to give you my answer in a means to give him that respect that he is so deserving to receive from me as his wife of all those years. So the very first one, again, the question was, what is your greatest strength as a father? I would say, Gerald, that your greatest strength as a father for me, that what I saw was truly your resilience. I cannot say enough how much I saw the try in you and the determination in you, no matter what it was. When something did not exist, you made it exist to make it work for our kids. You know, from starting a club to coaching because there were no one else that was able to. Just everything that you possibly could that made you existent in your children's lives. I really am grateful that you did that, and you did it out of just your passion to be a father. You did not seem at all as spiteful. I still recall to this day how excited you were with our first son when you could put him in, the YMCA, and that you were so excited. And I was just completely taken away by that, just seeing your movement and you walking around the home with just so much alacrity, so much energy in you, not being able to hold yourself down because you were so excited to volunteer as a coach for your son who had just turned 5, and you couldn't wait. And I was in my mind, I was thinking, wow, there's sports like that for kids this age, because I had not even been aware, and yet you were so on it. And I respect you for that, and I thank you for such resilience in you, that no matter what it was, that you kept going. You had your struggles, you have definitely had your challenges, and you took this family under your wing and you kept going. The next question is, what do you still need to work on as a father? I'm just going to respect the fact that you said it. It's out of your own mouth. And I know that you are working on it. And I know that you are so willing to hear. And there are times when you do get a little bit defending your part as a father all the time of what you've done, and that's to be respected and understood. That sometimes as your wife and as a mother of your children, that I feel that I'm driven to keeping you at the level where you should be or higher, and I never want to be in that position where I try to bring you lower. I want you to know that I believe in everything you do, as I've always said. But it's tough as a mom of your children and as a wife, that we don't always say, in the female perspective, I guess speaking for myself, that we don't always say the right things. And all I can say for you is that I see you having arrived at your betterment better than I could ever see you arriving to each destination. Every chapter that we have written, it's like it had a great ending every time, no matter the hardships, because you truly persevered and you did what you could to get us to the next chapter. It was you're always determined to not let it end there. It was always that what next, and what next. And I cannot ask for more than that we continue to persevere as a family, and we continue to be stronger no matter the obstacles we run into and the challenges that we face. It's your determination, and you truly are leading in this family in the right direction. And it's easy for us to, because of all the outcomes, because of all the things that we have overcome and have seen to arrive, it makes it where for me as your wife and the mother of your children, it's easier for me to go, okay, I get it, and I'm growing with you, and you help me to grow, because I see that it is in your try that makes things work, that you keep going no matter what, and you're persistent and you don't give up. And because we have arrived at so many things that have been such an accomplishment, I thank you for not giving up. I really do. And the very last question that I'd ask you is, what kind of father would you want to be remembered as? So if I was to answer that about you, I would hope that our children would know how extraordinary you are, that you are unique in your own way, that for other fathers who know the hardship of not knowing sometimes how to get there, and yet you just go with the grit and the grind, and you're determined to get there anyway and anyhow, and you may not always say the right things to your children, or perhaps your partner, and your wife. And I know that sometimes we bump heads like crazy, because I myself, you wouldn't have married me if I was not a strong woman, will always stand by my children, as well as, of course, your wife, and us being one, that foundation. and yet making sure that, you're also taking a look and reflecting sometimes your actions, because I'm not sure if you're taking the moment to look at everything. But I am grateful that I see you have continued. And what I hope that our children see in you is that strength, is truly your perseverance to endure the hardships. And no matter what, you're so good at not letting the noise get to you. In fact, the noise is like the wind to blow you in the right direction. And that is so amazing about you, is that you use it as your drive and your force to get you to the destination. So then you smile at everyone and go, hey, thank you for helping us to get here, because here we are. And it's almost like this disgruntling feeling that can be felt around those that tried to hold us back. And because you got there, and that you're thanking people without even having to say it, but just really with your smiles and that look of victory, it's amazing, because it's almost like you knew that you were already going to get there, that you were already going to arrive. And I am just grateful that even when we questioned your path, because you have really put yourself in that role of a captain. It doesn't matter if I was co-captain or just, going along with it. My role, to me, was more of just believing and having that faith and that devotion to go, okay, you're taking us somewhere. And when we arrive at it, it's remarkable that we get there. And, for all the fathers out there that have done that same, I know that every woman can appreciate that we can say, regardless, you really just kept going, and that your resilience, your strength, your perseverance, your determination, those are things that I hope the children will take from you and go, if my dad did it, I should have no excuse to do it. My children and their children's children should not have any excuse to do it, because he came from this, and this is where he got us. And I know you're still going, and so keep going. I'm so proud of you. And thank you so much to all the dads who are listening, and to all the wives and partners out there who are listening. Know that sometimes it's cloudy, but when you see someone who is determined and they're there because they want to take their family somewhere, keep believing in them, because that's what they need from you, is your strength and your belief in them. I know, and I hope that with my strength and my belief in you, I really feel that we have arrived to where we're at, mainly because you were the one who was navigating, but we kept on with you. And so let's keep on with the journey. And for all the relationships out there, keep it together, keep it strong, keep it in your circle, no matter what. Ignore the noise, ignore whatever. Just keep heading on. We will all get to our destiny, one moment, one victory at a time. Have a great day, everyone, and happy Father's Day to all of you out there. Thank you for listening. In the words of my mother, God bless us all. Thank you.